What's going on, guys? I'm back with another one. And I just watched a movie called The Girl with All the Gifts, starring Senia Nanua. I know I said that right. Gemma Arterton, and someone we all are very well acquainted with, Glenn Close. First of all, this goes without saying, but I'm going to say it anyways. I got to give a big shout out to the one and only Cheryl Burton. Of course, I appreciate your suggestions, and keep them coming. Keep them coming, please. I want to do something a little different this time. I want to do a little update on my quest for the perfect zombie movie. And anybody who knows me knows what I mean by that. When it comes to zombie movies, I'm just not the biggest fan. It's always the same thing over and over and over again. Quite repetitive. Just mindless creatures. That's why I'm glad to bump into movies like Warm Bodies, which I still haven't seen yet, but don't worry, I'm getting there. TV shows like Gen Z, which didn't make it through the first season, I don't think. Sad, but true. And then there's the one that I call the jackpot, Army of the Dead, which I actually did see. I feel like that was so good because it was a zombie kingdom. It was an organized zombie kingdom. Come on. And now we have The Girl with All the Gifts, which actually came out way before that. But my question is, will this film be one of those films that was another step to progression in the zombie film world? We're about to find out. Let's go. The Girl with All the Gifts. For those who don't know, for those who are not aware, I don't know how to feel about this. I'm a little on the fence because I faintly remember the trailer for this coming out back in 2016 or whatever. But the problem is there were a few movies that were similar to this. Not quite like it. Maybe not even about zombies, but just with this one special kid or girl or boy that could save humanity. It was a lot of movies like that coming out. All right, so it's faint, and we're gonna leave that open. All right. The Girl with All the Gifts. It's pretty much about this little girl named Melanie, highly intelligent, gifted, we might say. All right. And she's within this new generation of the infected. I'm not going to call them zombies. We're going to call them the infected. And the thing with the infected is they don't react to this virus, of course. Of course, it's a virus. But they don't react to this virus as the same way that the old generation of people react to it. But this girl, Melanie, definitely sticks out within this crowd. She's very smart, intelligent. She's the smartest amongst her group. And so they're doing a lot of tests and teaching and on these kids. All kind of things are going on with this until one day their whole program is infiltrated by the old generation of zombies, of course. And now they have to use her as a guide to survival just to make it. And that's pretty much the premise to the movie. Positives. And I can't hold you back. I'm not even I'm gonna jump out the gate with this one. My first positive was the brilliant mind of Melanie. All right. And the good thing with this, I'm gonna say, she is the lead character, and as the lead character, she is very interesting. And you can't always say that with movies like this. You can't always say that with movies like this. So I'm glad to say that with this one. She was probably the most interesting thing about this movie. Very smart, just so different. The way her thirst for knowledge, she already was knowledgeable amongst a lot of things. Smarter than a lot of the adults that she was with. Way smarter. And so I like that as well. Okay. And there was a point in this movie that I saw similarity to the X-Men. That X-Men comic book. The mutants. When they used the hounds to hunt down other mutants, it very much reminded me of the way that they used her character in order to just make it from day to day. They used her a lot, and that just showed how much of a value she was to the team. I like that. I don't like how they used her, but okay, don't get it wrong. I don't like how they used her like that, but you know, she did prove to be very, useful. Second positive about this, the new generation of zombies. This is something like I've never seen before in any zombie movie. Okay, you have a new generation who doesn't quite react the same way as your typical zombie. This is one of the biggest, maybe one of the biggest positives about this. And just to see them set off, they react to body fluid, like the smell of a body fluid, blood, spit, sweat, whatever. They are your scent. They react to that, and the way they reacted to that, you just let them sniff it, and they started to convulse. They started to shake and bite, and all like little animals, and it was just unreal. It was just crazy to watch that they just set off like that. Okay, never seen nothing like that. Never seen anything like that. I like that. I like that part. Another thing about this, the concept. The concept is very original. Never have I seen a movie like this. Not only the concept of this movie and how this all lays out towards the end, which I'm getting to, just the vibe of the movie, the background, the music. The music sets such a mood for you throughout the film. Like, it was a gloomy, disparaging, just it's one of those movies, man. One of those movies that with one of those scores in the background. That when you hear this, when you watch this movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, you feel like you're just as frustrated as they are. You're going through the same pain and anguish that they're going through, because you don't know if you're going to live to the next day. It's all new to you, even though this has been going on for probably some decades now. Okay. My last positive, the end. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's not so much as a twist, just a revelation, a reveal of sorts. Okay. And when I say about the end of this movie, of course, I can't actually mention what happens, but it's something to where if this didn't happen, this movie might not make sense. Okay, it wouldn't make sense if this end did not happen the way it happened, because I didn't expect that ending, which was very good. I didn't expect it, but it really made a lot of sense that the movie ended like that, because that means I'm not gonna say anything. I may be saying too much already. All right, that ending is just, yeah, I could see it. I could see that. I could see why that would happen, and they needed that. Let's just say it like that. The ending was very well needed. If it didn't end like that, who knows how this would have all came out. Negatives. I have to say this about the negatives. First negative, I mean, The soldiers in this movie were incredibly incompetent. Okay, they didn't last. The group they had, it whittled down so quick. It whittled down so quick. I forgot even half the faces of the soldiers that were on that team. Okay, they didn't last nowhere near as long as the ones in Army of the Dead. Of course not. That team was strong for the most part. This team, there were some soldiers on that team that were just not smart. Not smart. I know they were scared. This is something that, a lot of people were frightened and scared, but your soldiers, the soldiers were whining and crying more than the scientists. Okay, that's what do you need them for? What good are the soldiers? What good were they? If you're not gonna, when the little girl is 10 times, and she was 10 times smarter than a majority of the crew, of course, but when she just had more common sense than some of those soldiers. Those soldiers were like little kids with guns. They were like little kids with guns. Not good. Not good, man. Not good. They were expendable. They were expendable, not in a good way. Another negative. I'm going to say this. One of the characters, the character played by Glenn Close, even though her motivation was strong and her reason for what she did or what she did throughout this movie was I could see it, I could understand where she was coming from, even though it might be a little cloudy. There was a decision or a bad move that she made towards the end of this movie that made me scratch my head a lot. It just the fact, okay, let's just put it like this. When you have a world full of these zombies out there, you don't know where they're at, you don't know where you're going to get attacked, anything, but you're aware of this. You're very aware of this. It may not be wise to just leave your headquarters whenever you want to. Whether you feel like it, just because out of spite, out of whatever. It may be wise to think about what you do and how you move around out there. Okay? There's another part in this movie where she made a bad decision with a baby stroller that was involved. There was a zombie pushing a baby stroller around, and they were supposed to be very quiet. All right? They were supposed to be like very stealthy, if I'm using that word right. And stand still and not make a noise. But she just had to see what was in that baby stroller. Okay? I don't want to see it. Who would want to see this? Who gives a damn about that? All right? You think about the rest of the team. Think about the rest of the team. She was just a good and a bad character at the same time. She might be a great trick. She might be a great trick. But she's on the bad side right now. Another negative, and my last negative. The zombie logic in this movie, especially for the older generation, was just not up to par. Okay, a lot of things about the older zombies did not make sense. Not only were they generic and basic zombies, like any other zombie movie you're gonna see. Also, there's a part in here where the zombies were, I guess, in hibernation, right? And they said, be careful, because anything you do, noises, any distinct noise, or whatever, especially the scent, but they didn't have to worry about that at the moment, will set these things off. Now, of course, something set something off, all right? But only a few of them, one by one, were waking up. In something like this, I don't think just a few are going to wake up. All right? It would make more sense if all of them just started to rush and come at them. Because there's another scene where that actually happens. That actually happens quickly. Very quick. With a dog. But with them, it didn't happen? What? Yeah, that had me stumped. But with all that said, I still have to give this film a hell yes. Hell yes. You know how hard it was to come up with anything negative about this movie? I was going in circles with those negatives. Okay, this movie is incredible. It is an incredible film. I'm sad that I didn't see this earlier. All right, I love it when you have a zombie film and it goes to these lengths. All right, I want you to press that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and share this video.